Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Nemeka Onyekabiri remains my name. I just want to share with you understanding and knowledge about risk mitigation and risk mitigants. You know, everything about life is risk. Every business, every decision, every choices you make have a downside. You know, that's why sometimes when you're doing analysis, investment analysis, you always try to look at the SWOT analysis, the strengths, the opportunities, the threats, the weakness of any businesses you want to enter into, any endeavors you want to pursue. There's no endeavor or activities or actions you want to take that you won't sit down to do the SWOT analysis. Look at the strength, look at the weaknesses, look at the opportunity, look at the threats. Of course, that is why even in lending, before lenders will give you money, they do what we call the 5 C's. And out of the 5 C's, the most important is the character. Character is very key. Of course, four key factors of production: the land, which is naturally given; the human capital, which has to do with knowledge, with skills, with understanding; the human capacities and abilities; then the capital, which is the funding; and then the equipment, the technology. Currently we have AI, robotics, and every other thing. Now, you know, there's no mistaking it. It's known all over the world that annually Nigeria loses over 3.5 trillion naira worth of agro commodities, especially perishable ones, to post-harvest losses, and all those stuff. Losses at the upstream from the farm, losses in terms of distribution. Of course, we require over 25,000 refrigerating trucks, chillers, to be able to move the estimated 11-13 million tons of agro commodities, perishable, that produced annually across the Nigerian landscape. And of course, even at the distribution point, even at the end point, the consumption point, you also need to have chillers, solar power, because of the electricity issues we have in Nigeria. And then you also have to have the solar dryers, unlike the normal mechanical dryers that enable you to dry perishable goods without losing the nutrients. So, you know, when we came out with this audacious and bold plan to do 18,690 greenhouses in the whole of the 1246 wards in the southeast, that will require about $243 million to execute, that will unleash almost about $5 billion in the southeast over the next 2 years annually as revenue for the next 40 years. Most people talk maybe these guys, they are biting more than they can chew. No, we're not biting more than we wanted to chew, or more than we could chew. The fact is, a young medical doctor in 1959, Michael Abara, became the premier of the old Eastern Nigeria, and in 7 years blazed the trail. Between 1959 and 1966, built 214-kilometer mostly agro-industrial belt, no fossil fuel revenue, clear, strong, smart, creative, passionate, patriotic thinking, and the guy did it. What was the vision? Put food on the table of every citizen of the old Eastern Nigeria. And that is what we're trying to do. There's no big science about it. We are driving this through what we call missions, community, diaspora, private-public partnership arrangement. And before we ventured into this, we've had our fair share of gotten our fingers, or having our fingers burnt. We've had baptism of fire over the last 8 years, because we started this journey in 2016. That when we went headlong to the incorporation of what we know today as the Southeast Farms and Agricultural Processing Company Limited, SEFAPCO, which is the flagship #1 in the whole of the southeast of Nigeria in terms of understanding, investment, and the exploration of the agro value chain. And what is our vision? To help sensitize, facilitate, energize, activate, and get our people to understand that certifying the physiological needs of our people, especially food, is the most essential duties that we owe ourselves. And therefore, we also want us to understand that the southeast of Nigeria is a wealth belt. Landmass 2.8 million hectares. Arable landmass 2.6 million hectares. Bigger than the arable landmass in the Netherlands, 1.9 million hectares. Population 50 million people, 22 million people at home. The rest are in diaspora. Netherlands 17, 18, 20 million people. And the Netherlands annually, GDP annual revenue $643 billion. From the agro value chain, euros. From the agro value chain, 124 billion euros. Those of us from the south of the land of rising sun, we can actually generate nothing less than $120 billion from the whole agro value chain annually. And that is what we are doing. Trying to sensitize our people. You know, Igbo is the average Igbo man, the real full-blooded Igbo man is governed by Ako, Uche, and Uchu. That is our guiding principle. Ako, Uche, and Uchu. There is no true-blooded Igbo man that actually sucked on his mother's breast that does not understand the importance of Uche, Ako, and Uchu. That is what we are trying to do. We have the greatest diasporas, the most knowledgeable. In fact, when they say 2.25 billion comes into Nigeria dollars diaspora remittances, I can tell you without exaggerating that half of that money comes from the Igbo in diaspora. And therefore, we need to activate a structure, design a program that can help our people honestly to invest their monies in the southeast of Nigeria and the old eastern Nigeria, and help to create wealth, create jobs. They said, "Oh no, Labo, go home to your places." We are going to show that we can actually feed West Africa, and we will feed West Africa. We've identified the risk, we've dimensioned the risk, and we have created the mitigants. And that is what we are doing. It's an exciting time, guys. We are in. See, we will feed Nigeria. We will feed West Africa, whether they like it or not. We will create massive agro wealth in Alibo. 1,246 electoral wards on the southeast. In every of the wards, we must create means of creating agro parks, 200, 300, 500, 1,000 hectares. Industrial park, the full value chain, from cultivation to production to processing to storage to distribution. See, we can do it. If Netherlands can do 124 billion euro worth of agro export annually, Ndibo, the Southeast, can do $120 billion annually. We are not going to wait for those in power, the political elites. We are not going to wait for them. We are driving through this process through what we call the missions, community, private, public partnership arrangement, MCDPP. If the public P decide to disappear, we will still do it. Thank you so much for giving me audience. I want to encourage us all. If you have a gated land with borehole, please donate to us. We will utilize their land. We will mobilize resources. We will set up agro parks and create value in your land, and we will pay you 20% of our profit. And for those of you who do not understand, an investment of 12.947 million naira will give you 500,000 naira revenue every week for the remainder of 20 years. Don't take it for granted. We are doing it. So it's not a case of cho. You know, it's not a case of talking. We are walking the talk. We are walking the talk. So it's guaranteed. Give us your land that is gated with borehole. We will invest there with our own money. We're not asking you to bring your own money. But if you want to bring your own money, you bring your own money and invest in your land. We will help you to manage it, and then we will share profit. But if you don't have monies, give us the land. We will invest in your land. We will make profit. We will be very transparent. We will allow you to put in your own person there to monitor what we are doing with your CCTV, to see what we are doing and how we are doing it, and you will get 20% of our profit. And I said to you, 12.947 million naira investment will give you weekly returns of at least 500,000 naira after the first 75 days of nurturing the whole thing. Agro wealth is real wealth. Scientific technology, agriculture is real wealth. Once there is security, we will create wealth. And once we create wealth, it will reach everybody. We will create jobs. And that is what we want to do. God bless you. God bless Alibo. God bless Nigeria. God bless every man and woman of goodwill out there. Stay blessed. Happy Sunday.